We're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my ranking of all of the Spider-Man films. Before we get into this ranking, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. So, yeah, everybody else in the world has already posted their Spider-Man film rankings. Oh, I know, I'm late, but I really wanted to sit on No Way Home and think about how it impacted me, how I really felt about it, because so often leaving that theater from an epic experience like that, it's easy to just knee jerk put this really high on the list, or if you hate it, put it really low. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to feel it out just a bit. I needed that second watch for sure, which I got. Now I feel pretty comfortable in placing Spider-Man No Way Home amongst my Spider-Man film ranking. For the purposes of this list, we are including both of the Venom films as well, though we are only including theatrical releases. So anything from the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man all the way up through No Way Home is what we're ranking here today. And of course, this is just my ranking. We all have different opinions, and I have noticed very much so that this Spider-Man community has strong differing opinions when it comes to these films. So just remember, it's my ranking, and I look forward to talking Spider-Man in the comments and hearing your rankings down below. Without further ado, let's cut out this chit chat and jump into my ranking with number 11, aka last place. I have Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I know a lot actually found this to be better than the first Venom and had fun with Let There Be Carnage. Unfortunately, I was definitely not one of those people. I thought Let There Be Carnage was actually pretty dreadful overall, which was a little shocking because, yeah, they doubled down on what I found to be fun in Venom, and it didn't work for me. Let There Be Carnage is just a hodgepodge mess. It was comedy overload, it was awkwardness overload. I didn't really like the shenanigans with Venom and Eddie Brock. Tom Hardy is fully committed. Then we get these side actors who are given literally nothing to do. Michelle Williams, once again, sleepwalking. Naomi Harris is having a whole lot of fun, but that character was pointless. Even Carnage himself is absolutely pointless. This is a rom-com Venom Eddie Brock film, so really all of the extra cool villains are pointless around that. CGI is a little bit better, but can we see a fight moving forward? Maybe, please. Again, at number 10, I have Venom. I say, I'm just not really a fan of these Venom films. Turning him into almost purely a hero is a very strange thing to do in my eyes. And that's what you get when he's the main star and there's no Spider-Man to be found. Venom is a lot of fun when Tom Hardy gets to just lean into the character. And as I mentioned in Let There Be Carnage, the best part about this film is that relationship, is they're back and forth kind of fighting over control. Love you, Riz Ahmed, but no, he was terrible. He sleptwalked through this film. Michelle Williams was sleepwalking through this film. Everything to do with the villain story was terrible. The jokes did not really land in here, and the script is god awful, just like its sequel. Sorry, Venom fans, but we're just going to get those two out the way real quick. These next two on my list are actually really close, and I flip-flop on how I rank them. But for today, coming in at number 9, I have Spider-Man 3. Ooh, I know the original trilogy purists gonna be mad about this, but I just don't care for Spider-Man 3. I find it to be actually a tonal mess. Yes, we get the ridiculous dancing emo Peter Parker, and you have that with this really horrible performance from Topher Grace, whose adaptation of Venom is wretched. I know he was forced into this film, and him being in here damn near ruins the whole thing. Then we come back and we have James Franco and we have Sandman. It's so overstuffed and all over the place. And honestly, when you take out Venom, who shouldn't have been here at all, like his has no redeeming factors to me. The other two stories each work so well and could have been great films if they were the pure focus. Sandman's story is heartbreaking, and the idea of Peter's best friend, Harry, having to turn on him and having like the hate and vengeance consume him is great, but it's all just far too much. So as we swing from really impactful, dramatic, heartbreaking stuff to dancing emo Peter Parker, and Spider-Man 3 is just all over the place and doesn't really work. Coming in at number 8, I have another film that's all over the place and doesn't really work, and that is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The only reason at the moment I decided to put this film above Spider-Man 3 is that the tone works better for me here. It kind of is over the top for the most of it. And it's really saved by the amazing chemistry between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. They are so good and still my favorite of the on screen Spider Man film couples. Yeah, Gwen's death is amazing. And the stuff that follows that is also fantastic. Fortunately, it's a whole lot of the rest that is just a mess. I like Electro as the main villain. I'ma just be honest, and I wish he was the only villain once again. Yeah, he looked kind of stupid, all blue and such, but he was powerful AF. I liked that cool techno-y score, and I thought he was fun. I like that electric power set. What can I say? Han, that Green Goblin storyline, it was nothing. It was a nothing burger for me, and felt rushed, way too rushed. And then we get Rhino, which, oh my god, is absolutely dreadful. Probably the worst thing in any of the main Spider-Man films for me is Paul Giamatti in that Rhino. I mean, it's god awful. It's another one that's just overstuffed, all over the place, mess. And that's why Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3 rank real close to me. And this one comes in at number 8. At number 7, I have The Amazing Spider-Man. The biggest sin for The Amazing Spider-Man is that it's just a little bit too dull. The Lizard is kind of a dull villain, and that CGI was not very good for him even then. But but it but it's easily the weakest origin story for Spider-Man. I think Andrew Garfield is wonderful as the character, though he's a little bit too cool for school for a Peter Parker Spider-Man purist, if you ask me. His relationship with Gwen is once again the pure highlight of the film. And I definitely think this one, more grounded and focused, is far better than its sequel, though the action, is actually far worse. Some of the worst shot action in all of the Spider-Man franchise. At the end of the day, it's just safe. It's a little bit boring, and that's why it falls pretty close to the middle of the pack. Getting in at number 6, I have Spider-Man Far From Home. Both of the previous Tom Holland entries to the Spider-Man lore have suffered a little bit of identity crisis, in my personal opinion. And Far From Home fixes a little bit of that from Homecoming, but it opened up a few more problems. But at large, I have a lot of fun with Far From Home. I think Mysterio and Jake Gyllenhaal's performance are both great, and his chemistry with Tom Holland's Spider-Man is wonderful. MJ gets a little bit more time to shine, and I adore Zendaya in that role. Action is a lot of fun, particularly that Mysterio sequence with Spider-Man is amazing. Oh, it's so good. But there's a lot of ridiculous stuff. The whole Tony Stark tech thing doesn't work, really. And once again, the film finds itself really struggling to find the balance of Peter Parker versus Tony Stark and Spider-Man's relationship and that whole fallout and ordeal. It settled in for an overall fun film, but a bit of a sloppy one. Coming in at number 5, I have Spider-Man Homecoming. My biggest flaw with Homecoming is that it struggles to find balance. It really never is able to settle into a good tone and scope, honestly. We have equal parts Hughes style teen comedy and Avengers level superhero stuff, including Tony Stark showing up to try and help save people. But Homecoming is far better when it's just a high school film. When we get to be with Peter and his classmates at school, and his threats are more contained. He's not flying around all over to these buildings and these landmarks and experimenting with these Stark tech. All of that is where Homecoming falters greatly for me. When he strips it down and is just Spider-Man, when he's just Peter Parker, it's a lot of fun. Vulture reveal is amazing. Vulture as a villain is also very strong. Tom Holland shines as a young Peter Parker here. Coming in at number 4, I have Spider-Man. Yes, one of the films that reinvigorated the entire comic book film subgenres. Tobey Maguire's original Spider-Man still holds up as quite a fun time. Now, there are some things that certainly don't hold up. One, I don't really think Kristen Dunst and her MJ and Tobey's Peter Parker have all that much chemistry. They're my least favorite of the main romances, if we're being honest. And particularly here in this original film, it's coming. Okay. Also, some of the visuals, okay. But as an origin story, it's really solid. Getting these powers with Peter Parker is fun. Obviously, the whole thing with Uncle Ben works really well as a catalyst for the character. And then Willem Dafoe, just choose that scenery up in this film as a wonderful Green Goblin. I think Spider-Man is great. I really love the film. I just happen to love 3 others a little bit more. Coming in at number 3, I have Spider-Man 2. Yep, the sequel does everything the first film does and improves upon it. To me, Spider-Man 2 is better than Spider-Man across the board. First of all, Doc Ock is an amazing villain that is full of layers and complexities. He's intimidating while also quite understandable as a human. And while he is struggling to maintain control, it just is a great journey for a villain. Kristen Dunst and Tobey Maguire are better together in this film. I think their chemistry merges a little bit better. And the hero's journey that Peter Parker goes through in the film is fantastic. Once again, it's not wholly original, and we've certainly seen it done since. Taking down that power and taking down that superhero wall and having him really identify who he is and struggle being a hero in that sense works amazingly well in the film. Here we are at my runner-up position. I have Spider-Man No Way Home. What a ride this film is. In honesty, none of the other Spider-Man films reach the peak level highs that No Way Home does. That entire third act of this film is the best of Spider-Man on the big screen, if you ask me. The culmination of 20 years worth of cinema, of Spider-Man fandom coming together like it does in such a beautifully handled way is fantastic. But what I think No Way Home does so well, that puts it over the top, is the fact that we're getting all these villains and all of these heroes joining together, but it all comes together to service Tom Holland's Peter Parker, to advance his character growth and help him on his journey. It stays Holland's film, period. And Tom Holland puts in his best performance as Peter Parker, and for me, the best acting performance from any of them in any of the films. He is amazing here. Plus, the action is big, it's grand, it's amazing. The stakes are felt and they're real. 2/3 of this film are damn near perfect for me. It's that other third that keeps it from claiming the number 1 spot. The first act of No Way Home struggles with what all of the MCU Spider-Man films have struggled with, in my opinion, and that is balance and tone. Dealing with some really serious stuff while we're having weird needle drops and comedy thrown at you, jokes, and a really light atmosphere as people's lives are ruined. But everything before Doctor Strange, basically, is not handled in the best of ways. In my personal opinion, Doctor Strange himself wanes. Then we get performances like Willem Dafoe, who comes back and kills it all over again. By the end of the film, I had forgotten the gripes I have with the beginning because it's so damn good. But that does mean that my number one spot, my personal favorite Spider-Man film is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Far and away, easily the best Spider-Man origin story we've had to date. And part of that may be we finally got Miles Morales. We've seen Peter Parker done several times. So to get Miles Morales finally in a film was amazing. And wow, it was just handled perfectly. Honestly, I think Into the Spider-Verse is a damn near perfect film. The animation is innovative and groundbreaking. The character of Miles goes through one of the best character journeys in a superhero origin story, period, across any of the franchises. That the way that the Spider-Verse multiverse is handled here is perfect. The villains are amazing. The other spider people or pigs are wonderful. Comedy is used expertly throughout the film without ever getting in the way. As I said, Into the Spider-Verse is damn near perfect. And that's why, as much as I was on a high from No Way Home, Spider-Verse is still the apex, the top of the top, cream of the crop when it comes to Spider-Man adaptations for the big screen. So that's it. That is my personal ranking for all of the Spider-Man films to date. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. I hope you enjoyed my ranking, but more importantly, I want to hear your ranking. So how would you rank these 11 Spider-Man universe adaptations? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.